Hello viewers, this is Susan Muta with True Living Show, which comes via Sky Cable TV. We are continuing on a series of hypertension, and as I had told you at the beginning, most of diseases or disorders, they are caused by many things, but the first thing which I'm bringing to you so that you can know, it's the diet. The way we eat is what mainly causes the hypertension to occur. So today I'll just explain to you the type of a diet which will be suitable to prevent hypertension, or which you'll be taking when you become hypertensive or you have high blood pressure. And mostly you'll be advised by maybe your nutritionist, your dietitian, your doctor, your cardiologist. And so let's begin. So when you become hypertensive, or what we mean is you become high blood pressure person, your blood pressure is high, and there are numbers for high blood pressure, which we'll tackle on another different day, because today we are talking about the diet. But there are different types of diets. The first one is no added salt, which is advisable for somebody to take. That means you have minimal of the sodium you should be taking on a diet. Then we also have another one, which is a good diet for somebody who has hypertension, which is called low sodium diet. And another one is called heart healthy diet. And then there is also another diet, low cholesterol diet. So there are many ways, the way you can eat before you get hypertensive, or when you have high blood pressure, or when you are preventing it. Ordinary people usually takes a regular diet, but when you have high blood pressure, you have to know which diet to take. And it even goes further, because when you are hypertensive, some people, their kidneys get messed up, and then they go for dialysis, or they have adrenophilia. So they also have their own type of diet, which it's called Lino diet. But for the purpose of today and our time, we'll talk about heart healthy. We'll talk of no added salt diet, and we'll also talk about low sodium diet and heart healthy diet. So let's talk about the diet here. So I've presented for you a few samples of the food that we should be eating. And the first thing I would advise, or let you know, is the best thing to do is when you buy food, the packaged food, it's good nowadays. Packaged food, let's say like this one, onion garlic potato chips. The best thing is behind there are labels on what is contained on that food. If you look at this one, there is fat. So like this one, I don't know if you can see from there, but it has total fat. And even that fat is divided into different types of fats, like trans fat, and then the cholesterol, and then it's also give you the sodium, the total carbs, the dietary fiber, the sugars, the protein, and then it also give you the vitamin it has. Like this one has vitamin D, has calcium, iron, potassium. So all the time when you are buying your food, it's advisable and good to be reading on what is the nutrition facts, the labels. Every type of food has it. Even like this one is a sea salt, and it's all natural sea salt. It also has, it will tell you the calories, it will tell you the total fat. Like this one has no fat at all. It has no cholesterol at all. The sodium is 480 milligram. which is like 21% of the sodium. And then it doesn't have any carbohydrates, it doesn't have any protein. And as you can remember, when we started talking about hypertension and the effect of sodium on the diet, I presented to you here different types of salt, because after the show there were people who were asking what type of salt should I be taking. I had said that the sea salt is among the best, because it's even in granules, the crystals of it, they are big. Then we also have the ordinary salt we usually take. This one is more fine, which is not that very good. And then we have different types of salt. We have iodized sea salt, which is good because we also need iodine. But like when you look at this one doesn't have any iodine on it. This one has iodine on it. Also, this one is also iodized salt. There are many types of salts. And then we have like this one, it's called accent, but it's also salt mixed up with some flavors. So that's something else we were talking about. But let's now go back to the diet. Let's start with heart healthy. Heart healthy, that diet is the same as it sounds, heart healthy. So it's the diet which is friendly to your heart. Because when you have hypertension, the heart is the big things, and the kidneys, because the heart is where your blood is pumped. The blood has to pass through your heart. And when you have hypertension, that the salt or the things which make you have high blood pressure, they get onto your heart through the blood. So heart healthy is, I would advise you, if you are eating heart healthy food, first of all is like the vegetables, the greens, they are good. The broccoli, the spinach, the green collards. And if you will have frozen food, it's good to have like the peas. I don't even see if they have any salt on it. I mean sodium, maybe minimal. But when you come to pizza, because nowadays people love pizza, our kids love pizza. If we go to the labels I just showed you, when you look at this, the total fat of this, because as we had talked about, the blood pressure is also brought up by the sodium, it's also brought up by cholesterol, the bad cholesterol. It's also brought up by not exercising, being obese. It's also brought up by stress. It's also brought up by eating, like red meat, things like that. So if you look at the nutritional facts for this pizza, first of all, it has 420, calories. That's high calories. Then the total fat is 22 gram. 22 gram, and on a daily basis, you are needed to have 28. So if, let's say lunch, you take 22 grams of the fat you are needed in a day. So, and this might be just lunch. So breakfast, you might have taken another food with more fat. Dinner, you'll take another one, maybe a snack in between. So that's how you end up having a lot of fat. So, and then, the saturated fat, it's 8 gram. The needed per day is 40. Cholesterol is 55 milligram. The one which is needed in a day is like 18%. And then its sodium is 940 milligram. That's a lot of salt. Because pizza has a lot of salt, because although the cheese on it has a lot of salt, and like this one has some pepperonis which have a lot of salt. It has some sausages which is high also on the sodium, because we say that we'll be calling the sodium the salt. Although in a normal life, everybody needs some salt, because everybody needs sodium, because sodium is what, it's needed in our body. It's works in our nerves, so you cannot also stay without sodium. So it's another thing, but you don't need all that much sodium. So if we go back to this label for the pizza, you look at it, the fiber is just 2 grams. It also still have sugar, 2 grams. The protein is 20 grams. It does not have a vitamin D. It has calcium, which is 280 grams, which is a good, and it has iron 1.5 gram and potassium 300 milligram. But if you look at the potassium, it's 300, but sodium is 940 milligram. And those people who knows how the cells works, so it's like the sodium gets in and the potassium gets out. So you see, so if you eat this one, you are eating more of the sodium more than the potassium. So I would advise for those people who they have high blood pressure, because it also goes with a age of where you have it, or when you got it, or the type of medication you are taking. Because there are people who have high blood pressure, but they take low effective medications, and there are those with high, blood pressure medications. So every time you buy something, that's, you should be checking on the labels. So I would advise those people who are avoiding to eat food which is not good for them, to even just say they wouldn't be eating the pizza. Other foods, somebody would ignore is like the broth. Where is it? The broth here. Some of this broth, or the chicken gravy, or some types of gravy, some packed, canned soups, they are usually very high on cholesterol. They are very also with the bad cholesterol, and they are also very high in sodium, and they are disaster too. Like when I look at this one, the saturated fat is 1 gram, and the total fat is 2.5 gram, and then trans fats, which would be a good fat, it doesn't have it, and cholesterol is 5 milligrams, sodium is 260. So all the time when you're doing shopping for the food, it's good to check on that. And I had told you we were talking about the heart healthy diet. So heart healthy is whatever is good for your heart. Try to eat natural foods from the garden, from the market, like the fruits. The fruits, the fresh fruits, the fresh vegetables. And if we have to eat like the carbs. Because when I look on the table here, I don't see much carbs. So you can also have the brown rice, or the white rice, because, when you are hypertensive, you can eat carbs. But it's always advisable to have, the non-processed carbs, or the brownies, things which are brown, not so refined. Because some of these diseases, like the hypertension, you tend also, when you eat that bad, you also tend up to have other issues. You become obese, or you are either obese, or you might end up having diabetes also. But if you are only tackling the hypertension, you can eat just like the regular carbs, it's not measured. So you can have it. Other sources of high cholesterol foods, or high sodium, it's like the sauces we take, you know, like here we have one we put on the meat. So some of them, they have high, you know, high cholesterol, high salt, you know, sodium. So it's good to even if we can avoid, you know, some of the spices and eat the natural spices. Some of the natural spices we usually have like the parsley, you know, or you know, the rosemary. Although we want to make the food tasty, so that's how we end up taking, you know, to the food which is not that good. But it's good to eat, you know, normal portions of food, you know, small, not eating too much for any disease or disorder. It's good always to eat the right types of food. And most packaged foods, they have high, you know, you have to be very careful, be checking on them. I talked about the soups. Most soups, they are very high on sodium. And that's how, you know, it's not easy to prevent, you know, hypertension. And as I had told you at the beginning, this is Susan Mwita with the True Living Show, which comes via Sky Cable TV every Tuesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern African Time and 12 noon Eastern Time. Don't forget to subscribe, press the like button and make any comment. And thank you so much. Thank you.